Hello, Daff here. Happy March 5th! Or bittersweet might be more appropriate. This year, I decided to try drawing the protagonist of Persona 3. Yes, I'm finally including Kotone alongside Makoto. I love them equally, so I'm glad this year's video features both. Every year since I first experienced P3, I've made a special video dedicated to the protagonist on March 5th, which if you finish the game, you'll know why that date's so significant. If you haven't finished, I suggest muting the video, since I'll be discussing major spoilers, but you can still watch the speed draw. Alongside my drawing, I want to talk a bit about why I love these characters so much. Jumping right into it, I see Makoto Yuki and Kotone Shiomi as two sides of the same coin. Both went through the same tragedy at a young age, the loss of their parents in an accident and getting the shadow of death itself trapped inside them via robot waifu, but each had unique responses to their trauma. Makoto responds by closing himself off from others, becoming outwardly apathetic to life and people around him. Kotone instead opens herself up, overcompensating for her loss by being as open and friendly as possible, hiding her inner apathy. While I've never claimed to have suffered anything close to what these two do, I relate a lot to both of their internal feelings and outward responses. Persona 3 came into my life at a rather difficult time. Keeping things vague, it was a transitional period where I was constantly screwing up. And eventually I felt this wave of apathy, unlike anything else I had ever felt. I couldn't understand until experiencing P3, where I saw characters who related to my feelings and inspired me with how they overcame them. Makoto represents how I feel at my lowest, especially his characterization in the movie adaptation. Sometimes, I just want to close myself off from everyone and stop caring like he does. I fight with myself to not let these feelings turn to actions, but when life's too overwhelming, it gets difficult. Seeing Makoto give in to that apathy and live it out in the movies or even through his nonchalant demeanor in the game can be cathartic at times. But that relatability aspect isn't enough for me to love Makoto. What really turned him into my favorite character of all time was how he grows past that apathy and learns to let himself care. Throughout the movies, his experiences alongside Seeds progressively lower his guard, and he finds himself caring about these unexpected friends. He copes with his trauma by avoiding attachments to avoid more loss. But now that he has people he cares about again, he struggles to return to his apathetic ways. He accepts the bonds he formed and grows to care enough about life and his friends to sacrifice himself for the sake of humanity by becoming the Great Seal. Even if we only look at the game, Makoto goes through a subtler version of the same arc, developing his bonds through social links throughout the game and being empowered by them to become the Great Seal. If Makoto at the beginning of P3 is relatable, Makoto at the end is aspirational. He achieves a strength I hope I can come close to one day. He inspires me to never stop caring and to fight for those I love. A lot of what I feel for Makoto, I also feel for Kotone. Her arc ends with her achieving a similar strength to commit the same sacrifice. However, the place in which she starts and the path she takes to get there differ greatly, despite her living through almost all the same events Makoto does. Unlike Makoto, she never ceases to care. Instead, she chooses to live life passionately. You can see in P3P's dialogue options how much more emotional and invested her responses are than Makoto's, as well as how the characters around her acknowledge her outgoing personality. But Kotone is only open with her positive feelings, hiding more negative sentiments. Unlike Makoto, who avoids loss by not getting attached in the first place, Kotone avoids loss by trying not to give people a reason to leave her. She yearns for connection, but fears allowing herself to express negative emotions would turn people away, leaving her alone again. Thus, she hides that pain part of herself with her mask of optimism. Her apathy manifests in how she ignores the trauma at her core through her faux carelessness. If Makoto's apathy is how I feel deep down, Kotone's is how I mask it. I behave very similarly to Kotone, putting my best effort into being friendly, funny, and kind, to hide the less uplifting parts of me. I'm often incredibly reluctant to express any sort of sadness or open up about personal issues, even with close friends. I share the same fear Kotone does, the fear of losing those I care for, and the same coping strategy. Being able to relate to her makes me feel less alone, and she too inspires me to grow from these insecurities. Just like Makoto, her experiences with Seeds help her mature and deepen her bonds beyond the superficiality she protected herself with prior, until ultimately, she also achieves the strength and care to save everyone from death. While Kotone would find herself alone preventing humanity's end, she's able to face it thanks to the bonds she's formed and the love she has for them. I long to be as strong as her as well. In conclusion, I love Makoto and Kotone for how I can relate and look up to them. They've helped me come to terms with complicated feelings that came alongside growing up, and made me feel less alone in my fears, flaws, and insecurities. Their journeys give me hope that maybe one day, I too can overcome my personal traumas, and become a better person. If they can do it after everything they went through, I've got no excuse. I understand some may find this attachment cringy for how I'm expressing so much admiration for people that don't exist. After all, fiction's a fancy word for made up. But just because it's fictional doesn't mean it's meaningless. There's a reason stories like Persona 3 and characters like Seeds resonate with so many people, change their lives even. One of my favorite teachers growing up had a phrase he'd tell every class: literature holds a mirror up to life. Fiction will never be an exact replica of real life, but a good work will reveal truths about life that aren't as obvious by just living it. Persona 3's themes of death, change, and friendship hold a mirror up to what it means to die, to change, and to be a friend in real life. We can learn from what Persona 3 and other good stories reveal. Well-written characters can achieve the same, revealing truths about us we struggle to find without a mirror to look into. Persona 3 has changed my life in many ways, and I'm unashamed to say it. It revealed to me a lot about what it means to live, to grow, and to love. I'd like to think it's made me a better person too, but that's not for me to decide. Regardless, I owe a lot to it and its protagonists, which is why I make a special video just for them every March 5th, to honor their sacrifice and thank them for all they've done for me. Anyway, here's the final art! I don't usually draw these two because I still have a lot to learn about the Persona style, but I'm pretty happy with it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments what you think of Makoto and Kotone. Be sure to like and subscribe for more, and Memento Mori.